Have you ever thought to yourself, I'll never own a home? Stick around, this is the episode for you.
Welcome to Money Moves Podcast, the financial podcast without all the fluff. We're Molly and Caroline, two financial marketing coworkers turned besties, and we're here to help you take control of your cash.
We'll break down everything you need to know to make smart money moves and hopefully not bore you to death.
Think of us as your financial hype squad, bringing you real stories and tips to help you start stacking your cash. So let's start making those money moves. We are not financial experts. We are just two regular people. Always do your own research and ask a professional for personalized advice.
Welcome back, everybody, to Money Moves by KTVA ECU. I'm Molly.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we're talking about buying a home, and it seems so impossible.
It really
does. But we're going to help debunk some myths for you today, because there is a possibility. I really do believe it.
Yeah, I definitely think that this is one of those big purchases that when you're first looking at it, you're like, it seems impossible. And we're also going to, why does it feel impossible? We're going to get into that as well.
Yes.
But yeah, this is a big one, I feel like.
I agree. And we have a couple of special guests that we're going to bring in.
Yeah.
So we're really excited for this episode. But let's jump into it. So let's talk about why homeownership even feels impossible right now.
Yeah. So I think some of the big reasons that homeownership feels impossible are home prices are a little bit wild right now. Mm-hmm. I would say, especially in our service areas, specifically of our credit union, the East Tennessee area, it's changed a lot in the past, I would say even 5 years.
Yeah, I would agree.
When looking for a home. So I did write this down. In 2000, the average home price was around $165K. Today, would you like to take a guess on where it's at? Where do you think the average is for us?
I would say 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Or maybe even higher.
It's $400K in many places, which is crazy. And a lot of the times, wages in these areas haven't really kept up with the increasing price of homes. Yeah. So that can make it feel further and further out of people's grasp.
I agree. Yeah.
Another big thing that makes homeownership feel out of grasp is the increasing price of higher education. So a lot of people are dealing with larger student loans than in previous years. So student loans are carrying a higher price tag.
Yeah.
And that can makes it
feel impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes it feel like you can't overcome that debt. So why add on more almost?
Yeah, I agree.
So another thing that can kind of make home ownership feel out of reach is interest rates, which we are also going to talk about this. So we said, we're going to bust a lot of these myths, but interest rates, they ebb and they flow, and just as of lately, they have been a little bit on the higher end of things, which makes things feel like, is the right time to buy right now? Yes. Should I invest in this? So it turns it more into a questioning game of is this the right time? Is it not the right time? Which makes people, I think, a little hesitant to even think about home ownership at all.
Right. Yeah. I think one thing to point out about, and we'll dive into this a little bit, but with interest rates, that is a big concern for a lot of people, which is completely understandable.
So. Yeah.
But one thing you have to consider right now is if you are looking to buy a home, if the interest rate were to drop even 1%, that means more people are going to come into the market to buy. So that could change your available options that you have.
Yeah.
So it might be worth going ahead and getting in the home that you want at a little bit of a higher interest rate. There are options down the road that you can take to help lower that interest rate, only because if it drops just a little bit, there's even more people coming into the market to want to purchase too.
I think so. Yeah. So that also plays into the home prices too, because when there are more people in a smaller pool, it raises up the prices, which, it's just this repeating pattern, I think, of all of those issues that I think just cause a lot of anxiety when you're looking at you're diving into home ownership journey. And
especially if you've never been on that journey before, it can be really overwhelming.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll help.
Yeah. Hopefully
soothe.
Hopefully we will help soothe on some of these things.
Yes. So let's jump into some of the myths that are out there when it comes to buying a home.
Yeah, tell us.
So you had kind of mentioned it. It's about the down payment, that a lot of people think that you have to have at least a 20% down payment to buy a home.
Yeah.
And there are some of those options out there. However, if you'll talk to your real estate lender, there are other options where you can even do 3 to 5% down or have some of those closing costs that you have paid for by the seller. to help offset some of those costs that you experience. So don't let the 20% down payment scare you away, because there are other home loan options out there.
Yeah.
It's just exploring what's the best fit for you.
Yeah. I think the first home purchase that my husband and I made was a condo, and he actually did that completely on his own, and he qualified for one of the lower down payments because he was a first time home buyer.
Yeah.
So he was able to negotiate that when we made our first purchase. So it is possible, people.
Yeah.
It is out there.
And that's helpful, especially when you're just starting.
Yeah, 100%.
So another little myth that's out there, and I even had this myth before I even got my house, was that you had to have like this perfect credit score. You couldn't have anything on there. Like I was like, I got to have an 850 right off the bat to even have a house.
They won't even give me a house.
They won't even give me a house. Well, and that's not true. Like,
Yeah.
It's actually surprising the options that are out there for people that maybe don't have the greatest of credit scores. It actually surprises me when I see some of the options, because I'm like, you know what? There are times where your credit score might not be exactly where you want it to be. It may not be an 800 and 850. It may be a lot less than that. But again, it's talking and exploring your options with a real estate loan officer to see what really works for you.
Yeah.
And maybe getting in a home, even if you don't have perfect credit.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that either when I first started
yeah,
out.
you just assume, I guess. I don't know. It's like, it's a big scary thing. It's a big purchase.
Yeah.
Perfect credit score.
Perfect. It has to be. It's the biggest purchase you can make.
So I think another myth that's out there is that buying might be cheaper than rent. And I think it just depends on the scenario. Because buying can be cheaper than rent if you can get into it. But I think you have to consider what that means, because becoming a homeowner, it's more than just your mortgage. It also means when the garbage disposal breaks, you have to replace it.
Yeah.
If the roof starts to leak, that's now on you. If your dishwasher leaks, you can't call the landlord because you are the owner now.
Yeah.
So
sometimes I do wish I had a landlord to call. I'm like, this seems like a problem
this is
bigger
broken,
than me.
please come fix it. So like, you have to just balance out those options. Like with homeownership, yes, you get assets and you build equity. So there are some options that open up for you. But also with renting, some of those expenses that come with having a home is taken care of by a landlord.
Yeah.
But one thing that I really want to encourage people, that when you're looking for your home, especially if it's your first home, it's not your forever home.
Yeah, it doesn't
have to be your forever home. So look at those structural things that are really important, like foundation and roof. Those things that, like, if they break, oh gosh, how much is this going to cost?
Yeah.
If those things are okay, get into that home, and then that will help set you up in the future where maybe one day for your forever home, you can purchase it. You can turn that home into a rental home, and it can generate income for you. So I think there's a lot of long-term options.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like when my husband purchased our townhome, like our very first one, there were a lot of also just like stereotypes of like, oh, like I don't know, like when you're first coming out of the gate, it's like you have to have the perfect little tiny house for your first house. Yeah. But I think there are great options with like condos and townhomes. And if you're open to, different styles of homes and things like that, your world kind of expands in that realm. So like you're saying, look at the structure. For us, our townhome was like a very solid, built in the 50s, great community.
Yeah.
And it was the perfect like stepping stone into then our first home house, like, what is that called? Family?
Big boy home. Yeah.
Family home. Yeah. I was like, there is a word for it. I just can't remember it right now.
Yeah. I think it's important just to remember that you don't want to compromise the big things, the foundational things for aesthetic.
Literally.
Because you can always change things down the road. You can do remodels or get into a bigger home or a forever home down the road. So just things 100%. To keep in mind.
Yeah.
So I have another little myth or hack, if you will. As part of this, you can't own a home. You can't afford a home. There is something that you can do, and you, I think, actually have experience with this.
Yeah.
So that is basically, you buy a home, like a duplex or a larger home with extra rooms, and you rent out one of your rooms to a family or a friend or something like that to help offset some of the cost of your mortgage payment.
Yeah.
So I think you've done this in the past before.
Yeah, I've done this a couple of times, actually. So our first home, the townhome we had a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, and it was so big. I mean, like, honestly, 3 bedrooms for 2 people, like a young couple starting out.
Oh, yeah.
We were like, this is so much space. Like, we can definitely rent. So we actually rented to some family members, and they just like lived with us, and it was fine. I mean, honestly, like, the hack is, are you okay having people in your home? And also the hack is, do you have friends that you can benefit off of? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But it was a win-win situation. You know, we were able to provide them more affordable housing than what was in our area.
Yep.
And we were able to get that benefit on our mortgage for several years, which was honestly really great for us starting out and allowed us to build up our savings.
Yeah. I think it's important to remember that obviously everyone wants to own their own home, and that's really cool. It's a really cool thing to have and do, but you don't want your mortgage to be your entire life.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you still want to be able to do the things that you want to do and go on to the places that you want to go. So I think considering options like having a family or friend member help offset some of that cost to make it work for you so that you can still have a home is important. Because you don't want to have like this huge mortgage payment and never be able to do anything.
Yeah. Now, I will say a tip on that is never plan on having someone cover off on a part of your mortgage. Like, never plan on that. That was never part of Dylan and my plan. It was just like a happy accident that we were able to benefit off of that, and it put us in a better financial spot. But you never want to plan around like, well, I plan that this much of my mortgage is going to come from rent, because what if you don't have someone at the time who needs to rent, or that you can't find someone to rent out that room. So just wanted to throw that out there as a house hack. If you're house hacking, maybe just keep a lookout for that. But if you're open to it, it is a really great way to build your savings on top of, you know, getting that larger expense of a home.
Yeah. So I am really excited about this next part of the episode because we're going to talk to some experts.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Me and Caroline, we're pretty smart and I love it. Yeah. But like when it comes to home loan, there is so much out there. So we tapped into some of our real estate loan officers here at the credit union and asked them to give us some tips and tricks and just good base information for people getting started.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I think our first one is going to tell us a little bit about credit score. So let's check it out.
Yeah.
A couple of things that I would suggest are work on building your credit, having at least 2 trade lines. So that's 2 lines of credit, whether it's a credit card, auto loan, personal loan, something with credit history. So building up credit score as well as your trade lines or your lines of credit would be helpful.
So those were a few tips about credit score. And honestly, if you still need to dig into your credit score a little bit more, we just did an episode on credit score that you can go back and check out. But you just want to aim for 620 to get some of the best loan options. And like Jordan said, there are options for lower scores. So, you know, the best option there is to talk to a local loan officer for you to figure out what is the best option to help your credit score along the way.
And I like how he mentioned having 2 established lines of credit.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do we even need 2 lines? Like, why?
Yeah.
And the reason is it shows lenders, what type of borrower you are. It shows that you can make responsible payments and it builds that history. So it does build your credit score and it gives a little history for the lender.
Yeah.
So in addition to the credit score that Jordan mentioned, another really important thing that I think we've mentioned it almost every episode is just start somewhere. Yeah. Start your savings somewhere, even if it's just $5 that you can put away for a down payment or for some other loan options that you might need. Just start somewhere. I think that's really important.
Yeah. And I think if you're more advanced in your savings journey, a great thing to do is to look at the home prices in your area and maybe set that 3-5%, one of those lower down payment ranges as your first larger savings goal towards a home. That does require just to like be aware of what the home prices are in your area though, which if you're worried about home ownership, that's a great thing to just be tracking and benchmarking your savings goals too anyway.
One thing that I saw when we were researching for this episode, I think it was realtor.com, and this number actually surprised me. So I'm going to ask it in the form of a question to you first to see what you think, but then I'll give you the statistic. How many homes do you think people look at before they actually purchase a home?
Okay, are we talking about like on Zillow or are we talking about like on realtor.com?
Physically look.
Oh man, maybe like 10?
Literally, that's the number.
Really?
Yes. And that actually surprised me.
Spot on. What can I say?
I know my stuff. Yeah, that number actually surprised me because I was thinking, wow, looking at 8 to 10 homes, that seems like a lot of homes that you're looking at. But like, that's just the average that people are looking at. Like, look at as many homes as you need to find the home that works for you and your budget and all those things. So I just thought, like, I was like, oh, that sounds like a pretty high number. And it can take like up to 4 months to even find a home. So it's okay that it takes time.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like that kind of goes with the like home ownership is impossible, I'll never get there kind of mentality. Is it's a long game. Like home ownership really is a long game. You have to prepare yourself in these steps to get there. And then even the process of finding the home that I think my husband and I, we put in maybe just 2 offers on homes, and we probably saw like 13 because sometimes you walk in and you're like, this is not it, it's like just
So I have a tip, and if this is the only tip you hear today, like, this is my number one tip. And when I first started my home buying journey, I didn't follow this tip, but then I had to.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
You're intrigued?
I'm like, is it one we have on paper or not?
Is it one we prepared?
I'm like, it is great.
So my number one tip out of everything is just go talk to a real estate loan officer. I tried to do so much on my own and do so much research and was just trying to figure it out. And you have questions because you've never done it before.
Let me look directly at the camera and say this. There is only so many times that you can type in all the stuff to the Zillow calculator for my Zillow heads out there until it doesn't give you any more detailed information.
Yeah,
so go talk to someone.
Let's hear from one of our experts about this very topic.
Yes.
I commonly hear members say that right now it just isn't a good time to purchase a home due to interest rates. You'd be surprised at the different options that we have available, such as buying down your rate. We have different ways that we can look to see if this is beneficial for you. Those fees are included in your closing cost, and we can hopefully get you tailored into a mortgage payment that you would be comfortable in. We've even been seeing some refinances recently where the rates have come down enough where members can benefit from a lower interest rate. So I highly recommend contacting one of your loan officers here at the credit union so that way we can help you get tailored into a loan that fits your needs.
It's so true. I know I said it, but now you've heard it from the actual real estate loan officer expert. Go talk to your real estate loan officer. I actually talked to multiple real estate loan officers when I first started because different institutions offer different programs. And some of the first ones I talked to, they didn't have the programs that worked for my goals that I needed. So it's okay to talk to more than one. But let me tell you, once I started talking to a loan officer, all the puzzle pieces started making sense. I actually was able to make a plan that worked instead of just guessing and saying, okay, maybe this will work. Maybe we'll be able to buy a home in 6 months.
You hit on this so early in the episode, but like, there's only so much Google can tell you about your own personal situation. There's nothing that you can type in exactly that is going to give you the formula for your exact thing, because there's so much out there and they are the experts. So you kind of got to give up a little bit of trust, get over your fear of talking to people in person if you're someone like me, and go do it, because they are the knowledge keepers. They will know.
So we have another expert that we want to have you guys listen to. Let's see what they have to say about some tips for just starting out.
Hi, I'm Rachel Duncan, and I'm here to answer the question, what should I do to prepare to purchase a home in the future? The first tip I would recommend is using our app to measure your progress and keep track of your credit score. Second, try to keep your credit card utilization below 30% of the limit. Third, if you're paying rent, ask your landlord to report your rent to your credit. And if you can also get your utilities reported, that will help to positively boost your score. Happy house hunting!
So those are some of her tips for if you're still just starting out, you're still feeling like, man, I might not be able to accomplish this. And there was some really good stuff in there. I think that I had no clue, not in my entire lifetime until I watched her video. Did I know that you could ask your landlord to report stuff on your credit report, or that you could ask your utility company to do the same thing. Because like we said, if you're just starting out, and you're still, working on even the slightest bit of savings, like you don't even have $200 saved up, you don't have $50 saved up,
whatever,
you can start taking at least some steps that benefit your long game of buying a home.
Yeah, I loved when she said that because most of the time you hear, landlords don't report to the credit bureau unless you don't pay your payments, unless you don't make your rent.
Yeah.
But maybe ask them if will report. I think that's an excellent tip because all they can say is no, first of all.
Yeah.
But then what if they say yes and you're already starting good credit rapport for your credit report?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Rapport for the report.
And I think it just works back into that last point of like, just talk to them. They're going to know tips and tricks like that, no matter where you might perceive that you are on your journey in your financial path. Like they will help you have the steps to get started.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely. We have a couple of more questions that I'm going to tee up and see if these resonate with our people out there who are just starting out. So, from Instagram and TikTok. Where is my phone?
Get your phone.
So, from Instagram and TikTok, the first question is now even a good time to buy?
Well, I think we've already answered that question.
I was about to say, I think we have.
Absolutely.
But just to reiterate, there's not really such a thing as a perfect time to buy a home. The home market will always fluctuate in different areas. And like we talked about at the start of the episode, different things are going to continue to put different pressures on the different areas of the home market. So just start doing the math on, renting versus buying and looking on, is it a good time for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I can say on that one.
Question. Not is it a good time in general, but is it a good time for you?
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. All right. Next question. I don't have savings. Should I even bother?
Well, here's what I would say. Let's start saving, even just a little bit, even if it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that, like we said earlier, that goes a long way in the long run.
A little bit goes a long way in the long run. And we also have some previous episodes on starting your savings journey. If you are just baseline starting out, don't really even have emergency savings built up type of situation. So
and I would say
check those out.
Don't let it hinder you. I mean, just getting information and talking to a real estate loan officer, it might be a year from now before you're ready to buy a home, and that's okay. But start talking to them now so you can start making a game plan for helping you get there.
Yeah. And our last question is, will I regret buying a home?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah. So I just think that is where it is so important to talk to an expert again, because it's all about making sure that you are in the limits of what is good for your financial journey. So making sure you're not overextending your house payment. Like Molly said earlier, you don't want to be in something where all you can afford to do is pay your mortgage every single month and not do the other things in your life that you enjoy. I think that's why I'm calling home buying a long game, because also things like location, like Molly was saying about the bones of the house, all of those things matter so much. Yeah. So I think the regrets just come through the journey. Like,
it depends on the situation.
Taking your time and making sure that everything is lined up how you need it to be.
Yeah. Preparing.
Yeah.
Preparing. We prepare.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
There you go.
Yeah.
In so many aspects of the financial journey.
Many aspects.
No, I do think that's a good question, because you don't want to get yourself in a financial situation that you can't get out of. So like in that situation, you may regret buying a house, but that's why the preparation part is so important, so that you don't get in a bind and you feel confident in the decisions that you're making. And you know what? If you need to rent a little bit longer until you're ready, that's okay.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think there are plenty of pros to renting as well. Like, will I regret it? Well, are you even happy in the city that you're in? Is that where you want to buy a home? I think that's a large question I hear a lot of my younger friends asking themselves, is like, is this city for me? Well, sometimes renting gives you the flexibility to figure out stuff like that still. So,
and you can travel or move from year to year if you want to with that flexibility.
So I think the regrets are just like such a natural worry to have about any larger purchase like that. I mean, I could think that about a car. I could think that about anything, really.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah, I think that's a very natural worry to have. But really, honestly, securing a home loan is all about making smart money moves, and don't leave it up to chance.
Oh, I see what you're doing here.
Yeah,
I see what you're doing.
So talking about leaving things up to chance.
Wow.
I'm trying to work on my segues. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if they're doing great, but I'm trying. So don't leave your
love
home
it.
buying journey up to chance.
Don't leave it up to chance.
Only leave coin toss up
But
to
what
chance.
we will leave up to chance is good old Lincoln
coin
here.
toss.
Yeah.
Abe Lincoln.
Oh, Lincoln.
I tossed last time.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I think.
I think you did.
I think
Okay.
I did.
One day we're going to have someone let us know whose turn it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Lead us up. Tee us up.
It's time for coin toss, which hopefully at this point you know what coin toss is, but if you don't, coin toss is where Molly or I flip a coin, and if we get heads, is that the winner? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Heads
no,
is
I guess
always
the
a
winner
winner.
depends. The winner depends on what you
Well,
call
oh, yeah.
it. I don't even know what I'm talking about. No.
Heads feels like a winner.
Yeah, heads feels like a winner.
Oh,
Anyway, the winner of the
anyways.
coin toss gets to talk about a money topic of their choice. It could be a money myth busting. It could be something that is trending that we would like to talk about. And the loser has to talk about their weekly money win, which isn't really a lose. So let's get into coin toss.
All right. You ready?
Yes.
All right. You got to call it when I toss it in the air.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
Heads.
Ooh. Tails it is.
You said in the air, and I was like processing
Air,
as you said that. And it, like hit your hand.
Confirmation.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means I get to talk.
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh.
I want to talk about a savings tip / story journey of sorts. I love how we designate these sections and then we make up completely what we want to do.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
So part of my savings that I've tried to start implementing is this like save one, spend one, or use one, save one type rule. And here's what I mean by that. So let's say I go to Starbucks. Starbucks is a want, although we've already talked, sometimes it does feel like a need. Let's say that Starbucks is $5. Do I really need it? Maybe, maybe not. But because I'm classifying that as a want for me, my rule is if I spend $5 on that Starbucks, I have to also put $5 in savings.
That's so smart.
Yeah. So what it's made me start thinking is like, do I really want to spend the money on this want?
Yeah.
And if I do, am I willing to also put the savings in with it?
Yeah.
And it's just like a little fun game with myself.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's helped me back out of several Starbucks purchases in particular. But I've also, we're coming into like spring, summer season, and I'm like, ooh, I want some new clothes. I'm like,
Yeah, but I don't want to put all that.
am I going to put this in the savings?
Yeah.
So it's just a fun little game that I've been trying to play with
I
myself.
love that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
A little tip, a
Yeah.
little rule to set. for
Yeah.
me. Then
That's
you have to
really
make
neat.
savings fun.
You have to.
Otherwise, you might not do it.
I love little things like that where you can gamify your money with
Yes.
yourself. Like
Yeah.
it's like a challenge almost.
So is there is there something that you can think of that you classify as a want that you could accept this challenge?
Honestly, yes, like fast food for sure.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Fast food for sure, and then clothes. But I think for me, I'm still continuing on the no buy pathway.
Ooh,
So I've been
that's-
doing really good on not buying clothes. So
Yeah.
I do feel like it's food and lunches because sometimes lunches are just so hard to pack in the morning.
Yeah.
That's the one that I can mentally wriggle my way out of like, oh, I'm not going to pack that. I'll just
Yeah.
get something out. So that would probably help motivate me if I'm playing
Okay, I'm gonna have a
get
lunch
one,
today.
save one.
I also have to save this lunch
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, I love that one. I think that's a great tip.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So that's my story time / savings tip for you.
Yeah,
for-
no, I love the story time. Proud of you. That's
All
great.
right. So you lost, but you also win because you're going to tell us your weekly.
My
money
weekly
win.
win is a weekly loss for me.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's a weekly win for my husband and not for me, I would like to say. So I don't know. Spring is right around the corner.
Right.
And I feel like a good chunk of some people's spring money, tax returns, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
goes towards a specific area of their home, which my husband has fallen down into this trap, which is why this is a weekly win and loss, okay?
Okay.
Because it's gardening. I don't know.
It's gardening.
My husband at the beginning of the year looked at me and he said, we're spending our tax return this year on a garden for ourselves. And I was like, okay, like that is such a responsible thing to do. Like it will enhance the value of our home because we're adding some stuff into the backyard and into the front yard and blah, blah, blah.
You're growing your own veggies.
Growing our own veggies, which I will say the first thing that we're trying to grow is spinach.
Okay.
I eat, this is just a very, very personal tale. I eat probably like 3 bags of spinach a week. I don't know if anyone knows that about me.
Wow. Okay, Popeye.
Okay, that's what my husband says. He's like, okay, Popeye. But so we're starting to grow, spinach. I just love it. I'm in a spinach phase. So
that's great.
We went to Home Depot. We have gotten all the things for the garden, and I feel this is why I want to call it my weekly money win, is because I do feel like in the long run, it is really cool to have some things around your house that you have.
You're self-sustaining.
That you're self-sustaining, that you're providing yourself. Now, the loss is both number one, the yard work, and number two, the fact that we have to spend some money to get this off the ground and moving. But it's been really cool so far, and I'm really excited to see how our garden goes because we've got like everything set up and ready, and we've started some seed germination inside. So I think it's really neat, and I would love to report back on if we actually get any savings out of it.
I was going to say, you should keep us updated on this gardening journey.
Yeah, so I'll let you guys know. We're starting with some spinach, some herbs, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, because those are like all things that we have identified that we like eat a lot of that we think we can successfully do in the first year.
You know, throw a couple of chickens into that.
Yeah.
And you're good to go.
Yeah, get the eggs from last episode, the garden from this episode. We're set. We are good.
We're good.
Yeah, so I'll keep everyone updated on how the gardening journey goes for us and if we have any savings from it. But I did want to report that on my weekly win-lose.
That is so funny. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, that is it for this episode. We're so glad that you joined us today.
If you love the episode, check us out on social media at TVA Credit Union on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads, and TikTok. And if you liked the episode and want to give us some tips, feedback, advice, want us to talk about something specific, you can email us at podcast@tvacreditunion.com.
All right. And with that being said,
keep making those money moves.